Right, so that's our Yamonas platform, okay, as you might know. So today I want to show you a couple of use cases that Andrea already introduced. So when it's a matter of granting access to some external suppliers, there is a lot of paper involved. There are forms to be signed. So let's pick this particular use case, okay? So now let's see, for example, this document. We have this John Ash, who is requiring this permission sysroot for this non-Windows server. Okay, so we have this form. We need to send it to John and getting signed back. Then, as an expert, so now I'm impersonificating a guy in the security office that needs to grant this privileged access to this guy. So now, what can I do with Yamones? It's just to go here in instructions. Okay, we can upload the document. So now we have, for example, external supplier access. Okay, and then of course always the demo effect. All right, so external supplier access. All right, and we can activate the document. Okay, then we just need to upload it here. So we have the PDF and we have it now. We are processing into our RAG pipeline. So now the document is into our platform. And now what we can do as a security guy, we can first of all start with an explorative question. So in general, I want to know what access must be granted on non-Windows systems. And if you remember, that's the case of our John Ash entitlement. Okay, so here we see that the system has, first of all we see all the informations, all the access available for non-Windows servers. Okay, and we can see that from the company documents that we have uploaded, we have also this sysroot permission for this specific server. Okay, so here we have a mesh between the informations in our temporary entity graph and also on the form that we have uploaded as a document. So now we can, for example, create an access request for John Ash. Okay, okay, I need to request sysroot permission for John Ash. And I can also give a further explanation. I can include, for example, a reason, okay, a justification for that request. So the reason is YAML POC project. Okay, so now we have this Yamones POC and it's required this sysroot permission for that. In this moment, the system is creating the access request. Okay, so it's computing the access request for John. Okay, for John Ash and the sysroot permission. Okay, so now we have the YAML POC is the reason and the scope is on Linux server. So here we just provided a more detailed business justification for that, the justification for the access request. In this moment, the system is also computing the workflows in this moment. So we have defined workflows in the system that can be understood by the Yamones platform always in natural language. So here we describe the workflow natural language, and the system is computing the necessary steps to create that access request in the system. Okay, and now let's go back to our access request for John. Okay, while it's computing the request, I can, for example, as a security guy, I have a doubt. Okay, so I want to know if John was already provisioned with some access before this sysroot access request. Okay, so before granting that access to John, I would like to see if, for example, John has already been provisioned with some access. So what was the timeline of John's permissions? So now I don't want only a part of an access, a timeline of the access of John, but also the graph. So the plot of that timeline into the Yamonas platform. And that's one of our latest features. Okay. So we have introduced not only reporting capabilities that has already been, has always been there in Yamonas, but now there is also the possibility to create charts and dashboards on the fly just with a prompt. So you don't have to configure um, dashboards. It's just a matter of requesting it to Yamonas. Okay. So of course here we see the timeline, and yeah, I just switched the context so we have both users, John. But as you can see, just with one quick look, I can see that John has been assigned to a lot of permissions of the SAP application. Okay, you can see here we have this pink color for SAP, and here we see that it's the timeline of the accesses of John. Okay, so now that's a new perspective. Okay, in the Yamonas
And you
platform,
can
because
save it,
now,
right? That's a
yeah,
little
exactly,
advertising
and
moment.
you
One
can
of the
save it
coolest
as
thing
a,
was, which I
yeah.
didn't notice at the beginning, is that you can save the image and send it around, which is quite, visual.
Yeah. So that's the perspective, okay, of a security guy who's starting from a form. He can get some information, he can create the access request, and then also performing some timeline investigation on users, okay, and getting some charts. Now, the second use case that I want to show is more about explaining the system. So now it
Just
was
one
us.
comment,
Yeah.
just one comment, Alessandro here. I think we published today or yesterday a case study of a large bank that basically, had to merge data coming from SailPoint and their homegrown database. And one of the things that they were missing in the original data source was the lacking of a timeline, because every day they were refreshing with the Linux mainframe SQL privilege, real admin privileges that we're collecting. So this timeline, it's something that it's nice if you have the data. Most of the silo we integrate with have no timeline, and we build it. So as part of this privilege extension we built, we're also able to enrich the data at the source with the timeline of events, which I think if you use it as a tool for security, I mean, understanding what happened then and not just today, it's quite of an important feature, because the snapshot of yesterday and not the information of 2 months ago, it's sort of nothing in this security domain. Sorry, Alessandro, I just wanted to be a little more specific on the behind the scene ability to enrich the data that are typically lacking this time dimension.
Yeah. So that's our fancy timeline, okay, in Yamonas, and the second use case is more focused on explaining, okay, the system, explaining the access, okay. So now what we can do now, we can just, for example, ask what are the available target systems, okay, and now we expect to have the list of the target applications connected to Yamonas. Okay, and as you can see, the first one is the Acme domain, the Acme target system. Now, I want to know which are the permissions, entitlements connected to that resource. So now I want to understand what are the permissions on Acme. And now you will see what's the capability of Yamonas to explain in natural language what an entitlement can do. Okay, so now the system is retrieving the identity brain, all the informations of the entitlements connected to that system. And as you can see, these are not, let's say, so these are strings, okay, and are not so human friendly, okay, they are not very readable. Of course, you can, if I know a bit of the naming convention, maybe I can extract something from the meaning, but there is no permission description here, so it's very difficult for me to understand them. So now I can ask, for example, can you explain entitlement number 5? Okay, so I want to understand what's the scope and what that entitlement actually do in the system. Okay, so now Yamonas, okay, can understand from the semantics of the entitlement, the naming convention used in the entitlement. It can gives us a good guess, okay, of what that entitlement uh, do, okay? But there is also a second option that is the preferred option. If you provide more context to Yamonas, okay, and usually as the forms that we have uploaded at the beginning, there is always a lot of paper in companies that describes systems, applications, naming conventions in the company that just sits on paper, okay? And now let's see, for example, we have a document that explains perfectly what's the Acme domain is, okay, the entitlements. So we have a very technical document that we can upload in the Amonis platform. So now we go back here. Now you are already used with the process. So we have the Acme manual. We activate the document, and then we can upload it here. Okay. So as you've seen before, now we are processing the document. The document is active in the system, and now we can basically ask the same question. So can you explain it again? But this time, it's not only the identity brain with its basic capabilities, its basic understanding of identity access management, but it's the identity brain plus your context, okay, the document that you have uploaded with more informations about these target systems. And as you can see, the resources used during the reasoning is always displayed to the user. So as you can see, we have the identity graph where this entitlement is, okay, and also now we have also the company documents that it's the document that I have uploaded. So the identity brain comes already with some basic understanding of identity access management with enough knowledge and understanding of identity to provide some explanation of entitlements. But then if you provide even more context with some documentation, you get the perfect answer for your identity related questions.